I have a sketch that I have never got around to finishing off, so this has been sat in the sketchbook for months and months at this point, and I've never taken it beyond this in the first stage, so I'm gonna work on this today and finish it off. So grab your sketchbook and maybe what was something that you haven't finished off, that you need finishing off, and join me for some sketching time. I have my usual pencil case. This is kind of my everyday carry pencil case, and I think for this I'm going to use a couple different pencils. I'm still deciding what I want to do with this sketch, and I guess I'll figure that out today now. I think I'm gonna ink it. I think. So we have some inky tools, but I might leave them in here for now. I'm working on grey toned paper, so I have the opportunity to use some different grey toned markers. I can also use white. I could use white ink, or if I wanted to just stick to pencil, I could use white chalk, but I don't know yet. I don't know yet. If I do use white ink, I'll probably use the Gellyroll. Okay, I'm gonna get out the inking stuff actually, and then I at least have it. Okay, put you back over here. So this is the potential inking selection, and I'll put them over here for now, over to the left. And this is what I'm working with. So I've got a 0.5 mechanical pencil, this is HB, a 0.3, and this is HB. I probably won't be using this one too much, it would just be if I need really fine details. And then I've got a 0.7, and this one is 2B. So I'm mainly going to be using this one, and then if I need to darken anything, I'll be using this one. I have a kneaded eraser, which I just keep in little pots to keep them clean, because I don't like when they get like hairs and cat fur and stuff stuck in them. The cat hair gets everywhere anyway, but it at least makes it not quite as bad. And I also have a mono 0 eraser with the little tiny tip as well for fine details if I need that. So other than that, let's get going. We're starting off with some natural lighting for now, but because it gets dark here so early, it's currently just gone 3 o'clock, so we're probably due another half an hour maybe like this, but it might start getting a little too dark for filming without another light source on, so the lighting might change, but for now we're working with natural light. I prefer how the texture of paper looks in natural lighting. You can kind of see the grain better than when I'm working with artificial lighting, but you kind of got to work with what you with what you have in winter time. So right now I'm just cleaning up any construction lines. So like here you can see there's a construction line that I was using to figure out like angles and distances and things. I'm cleaning those up just to start off with. I've got to get my bearings on this sketch. It has been a while. It has been a while since I have worked on this. So first off, and down. I'm gonna clean up these ears. So I'm drawing the coyote. And that's trying to just clump together the ear fluff here. Fluff generally looks better if you can kind of clump it into shapes. That's a very sharp angle, so I think this was actually a construction line. I'm having to figure out what what I was trying to do at the time of me drawing this. It's been so long. So what I'm probably going to do is round that there and round it out a little bit. Sometimes in my art practice I get like a burst of creative energy, and I'll do like tons and tons of, woo, dropping my pencil, tons and tons of like thumbnails or starting sketches, and then there's other times where I really like just finishing things. And I've found that in my practice, one way that I can kind of work with that energy flow is by embracing it rather than trying to fight it. So what I mean by that is, when I have a lot of creative energy, I will just let myself do loads of sketchbook pages where I just do like ideas, and if I don't feel like finishing them all, or if in a day what I want to do is just do like 5, 10, whatever sketches, I let myself do that. And then that means that when I have a day where I don't have that same energy and impulse, I have lots to work from. It also helps for when I might not know what to draw that day. I might know that I want to do an illustration or something that day and I have the time to, but I might not necessarily have like an idea that immediately comes to me that morning. Instead, I'll use the sketches and ideas that I've built up. But it does also mean that my sketchbooks can sometimes be filled with pages and pages of finished sketches and finished ideas, but also things that I just leave for another time, and then sometimes I don't get around to them. And that's kind of what happened in this. I'm kind of blocking out shapes here for different... I'm trying to figure out how I want to do the shadows around the ear. I'm not sure about that. I want to have like a nice shadow shape. I kind of like that. I kind of like that. And then I kind of want to curve it in. Yeah. Figuring it out. I like that. I'm gonna want to make this fluffy. I'm probably gonna have a clump here and a clump. I might do like a small clump, big clump. I follow that shape here that I put in originally. How do I want to do the fur? Here. I might clump a little bit out that way. And then that kind of leads into the like brow of the coyote. I've heard coyotes when I've been in America, but I've not, I've got a cup of tea. I've not seen them, I've only heard them. Well, I tell a lie, I've seen one, but it was not alive. It was sadly on the road. So a little, I've kind of blocked in cheek fluff here, and I kind of want to have another form up here, so there's like a little tuft and then the main tuft, and then I might separate that into another tuft. It's kind of like that shape. Not quite rounded though. Ooh. Big dark cloud just went over the sun then, so we might be getting some early darkness. Do-do-do-do. Okay, let's start clumping. So we've got our small clump, big clump, and then we're going to have another clump here. And like this. I apologize for my creaky chair, by the way. Add some texture in to the clumps. I kind of want to have the darker part of the ear. I want to make sure that has an interesting shape as well. So I'm probably going to do something like this. Yes. I might actually just leave that like that. I might not try and make the edges fluffy. Sometimes simple is better. So got this clump here. The textures inside are kind of just placeholders at the moment while I do this, and then when I get to the actual lining, which I'm leaning towards ink now. I am leaning towards ink. I'm probably gonna figure out how I want to go about doing the textures inside. So we're gonna have clumping, and then have that go down and kind of meet over here. I'm still going to keep the brow definition, but I'm going to move it a little bit. Is that too high up? So I'm tilting my sketchbook. I know that's going to be out of focus, but I'm tilting it so that I can see if the sketch is out of perspective or not. Because if you're drawing flat like I am, there's perspective to my eyeline. Whereas if I bring it up eye level, I can see if there's anything wonky going on early on, so I can fix it early on. You can of course like draw on the drawing board at this angle, but sometimes it's comfy drawing at a desk with a cup of tea. Sometimes you don't want to be drawing. I want to give him a little under thingy. I want to make sure I remember the cheekbone, which will be here. Not quite as prominent as the cheekbone of a big cat. Like, ooh, careful. This isn't a big cat. This is and it's a replica. It's made out of resin. But it's a good way to illustrate anyway. This is a resin replica of a domestic cat, but if I move back, you can see how prevalent the cheekbones are. And they produce very, very rounded, especially on a big cat, they're chunky. So you get these really chunky cheekbones on big cats. Whereas the cheekbones are still very obvious on animals like wolves and dogs and pretty much any of your canines. Foxes as well. It's not quite as like chunky. It's a little bit more sleek from what I've noticed. There are of course exceptions to the rules. There are going to be some dog breeds and things where they just look buff, mega buff. Don't really know I'm kind of just playing around at the moment, figuring out where I want to place things. I'm deciding. Kind of want to make like a stripe of fur going down the chest like that. Figuring it out. We are starting to get quite dark. I might have to put the light on in a minute. I also want to get some big tufts going in this region. I'm pretty happy with what's going on here for now. And I want to add some whiskers in here. And also clean up. I think I'm mainly going to focus on this section for now. Sometimes when I'm doing sketchbook videos, you'll see me like stopping, and I don't know if I like that actually. I'll leave it for a moment and then I'll see if I like it or not. You'll see me kind of like pause and just, sometimes I'll tap, and that's me doing what I just did. I'll be thinking about what I'm going to do next before I do it. Get some tufts going. Yeah. And then I'm gonna bring that down, I think. Or might, I like that more. I like that more. Going with you. I want to make sure I have a nice shape for this bit. I'm still figuring out how I want to do it. Tell you what, are we getting a little too dark? I'm gonna sort out some lighting. I will be a moment. Okay, artificial light has been activated, but now there is going to be a bit of glare from the graphite. The trials of winter. The trials of winter. Actually, that's not how fur works. The fur is going to be going this way. So what have you been up to recently? That can be in art, but it can be in your hobbies. What have you been up to? You played any fun games? I've been getting the urge to play Stardew again. I love Stardew, but I've not touched it in a while. And I know that there's been a few, not just one, but there's been a few updates since I last played, so there's going to be plenty for me to do that'll be new in a new save. But I'm not sure what farm to do this time. Of course, there's always the classic. I do enjoy using the forest, and I've used the like fishing one. Not the beach, but the like river fishing one. I've used that one before. I wasn't super fond of the mining one. Do I want that to go all the way down here? I think I might move this so that it goes whoop and zoop. Yes. I think I'll do the outer fluff first, and then that way I know how much room I have. Might do is just I might change some of that fur. I'm not super happy with how it looks. It looks a little samey. Like a big part of fur is clumping it together, but it's like in interesting shapes. And if it looks too samey, then you're losing that interest. That's why just doing fur like is just not gonna look very realistic. That feels a little bit better. Make that square. And an extra tuft. That's in glare territory for you, but see if I can move it where there's not glare. There you go. Just putting in some rough shapes here. This is the nostril. I'm gonna also block out where the front is and the side plane versus the top plane. So we've got top plane, front plane, and then that's the side plane. In this, the darkest darks are going to be the pupil, the nostril, and then some of this like inner eye right up in here would be the darkest darks. Like if I was painting this, then those areas would be painted in with my darkest tones. Inking this, you can kind of go one of two ways. You could intentionally ink those areas in with the black line, or you can use, say if you were inking this and then you were using markers, you could use your darkest tone for the darkest darks. It's kind of up to a stylistic choice at that point. Kind of planning out the pathing of the fur so that I know where it's flowing. Like this. Let me get rid of that. That's quite not right. Not quite right. So I've got kind of like flow lines. Let's see. I think I'll put in I'll deal with this area and then I'm gonna deal with the creating like fluff throughout here. But I'm gonna deal with some of this area. Also just want to tighten up. That's going to roughly be where the canine is. Okay. So when I last did the sketch, I kind of put in some very faint lines here to guide me for where I want to put these like dots. I'm probably not going to go exact. But I want to try and make sure they're not too even. And also just put in some texture. And then I kind of want to cover them. So probably not going to put them exactly where I've done them, and then just put a couple over there. I might end up changing them slightly when I actually go to ink them in, but I've given myself an idea of where to do them and how to do them. The how is quite important because some animals have very straight whiskers, some have very short, some are very long. One of my cats has insanely long whiskers. She has whiskers for days. I actually want to tuft that up a bit. Tuft. Yeah. Yeah, she has insanely long whiskers, and it's actually kind of hilarious to look at sometimes. But they just go, they go on and on and on and on and on. And she has tons of them as well. I kind of started clumping out my fur a little bit here, so. And what I'm probably going to do for, so this is another thing I'm thinking of when I'm doing this. I want to have a center of interest, which for me is going to be the main bit of the portrait, and then as I go further away, I want to simplify the textures. So what I'm probably going to do is in a lot of here, I'm not going to have the whole bit of the fur. I'm gonna just have bits. I'm gonna start to fade out the texture is what I'm trying to say. Trying to talk and draw at the same time is always always a challenge. So I feel like these ones are light enough. I don't really need to darken them, but I am just cleaning up some construction lines that I missed earlier. So my main goal, I'm also going to actually fix the ones up here because they don't quite make sense now. Like, nice. So yes, I am thinking about the shadow areas. So the areas where I'm in between clumps is kind of what I'm thinking of. That's not quite what I'm wanting. And I also again want to make sure I'm varying the shapes. And making them somewhat interesting. Can also actually incorporate the edge fur when I'm doing this. I don't like how long that one is. I don't like how long that is. again. I don't like how uniform all of that is. I feel like I kind of fudged. Okay, I have a plan. Vary the size. And also make sure I'm factoring in that the fur is going this way. And then, so I've still got kind of like the lines going, but then I'm going to add some textures in between that kind of make it seem a little less obvious. Also, I'm kind of just trying not to overthink it now, so. I might not go with all of that, but at least I have an idea of what I'm doing. Okay, I took a little break to stretch my hands, and now I'm back for the inking. So I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to use, but I've got a Kuretake Bitmoji, and it's the felt nib, and I think this one's in fine. I've got a Micron that is 0.25 and a Micron that is 0.45. So that's the 0.45, and this, if you trust me, is a 0.25. I'm gonna start off by inking in the nostrils because I know that that is going to be, as I mentioned before, my darkest dark. And I am deciding for this to fill it in. So I can adjust the shape a bit. as I go. I don't have to worry too much about that. I just have to worry about making sure I don't make it too big. I can make it bigger, I can't make it smaller. Hello, this is post-filming, editing voiceover time. I ended up not really talking much for the rest of this, so I thought I would join you in a voiceover for a moment and then leave you with some music for a bit before the end, where I'll come back in again. I ended up speeding up this section, since I wasn't talking much, by ×2 so that I can shorten the video length a little bit, because as some of you may know, my upload speed is not very good at all, and this video, even as it is probably going to take a very, very, very long time to upload. I am so looking forward to getting better internet again so that I can stream and also upload long videos, because I love doing real-time videos and doing long sketchbook videos and things, and I'm just trying to find a way to make it work with what I have at the moment. So going for about an hour is usually where I try to hit it, but in this case I had like 2 hours of footage or something like that, so I tried to shorten it down a little bit towards the end here. But if you're still here with me, I hope you're enjoying whatever you're up to, and I will check in with you towards the end of the video. We are nearing the end, so that sounded way more ominous than I intended. I apologize. We are nearing the end. We're nearing the completion of the sketchbook page. All in all, I ended up using a mixture of black ink, white ink, and then some grey toned markers. I used a couple Cool Grey. I think it was just Cool Grey 3 and Cool Grey 5. I can't remember if I used Cool Grey 1 in there, but I definitely used those two. I think I used 3 actually, because there's 3 in the video. Suspicious. Ah, Cool Grey 7, I can see it in the corner there. So Cool Grey 3, 5 and 7 is what I ended up using for this. I waited until the next day to add in the whiskers, just so that you can have a nice, natural light finish to this, and also so that I could record it. As you can see, it kind of works vertically so that I could record it for putting on shorts and things as well. But other than that, that was all I left until the next day. And this will be the completed sketchbook page. This ended up taking a lot longer than I thought it would, but I don't really try to restrict myself when I'm doing sort of relaxed sketchbook time. It's not something that I try to force unless I'm doing something intentional, like trying to do a figure drawing in 10 minutes or something like that. Thank you for joining me today. If you ended up creating anything, let me know in the comments below what you were up to, and I will see you next time. Bye!